Hello and welcome back to yet another day here in house rivalries. This time it's National Division. We got two matches coming forward to you today. My name is Delta, and with me I got Paradox. And we're going to guide you through the first match here, which is going to be Cape Town champions versus the Lisbon Lycanthropes. So we already watched a little bit of the decks. What do you have to say about them, Paradox?
They seem fairly standard on the side of Cape Town. I haven't seen Reborn Paladin in tournaments as of late, but the other list seem pretty standard. We've got the good old-fashioned Inner Fire Priest with this new Bomb Samdi that I've seen Hunter Race use quite a lot in the Grandmasters. We got the Battles Cry Shaman, pretty standard list there, and then we got Quest Druid with again fairly standard choices really. I'd say the more interesting lineup would be from Lisbon Lycanthropes. They've brought a Malagos Druid. They brought Zulok, which was banned away. They brought a Warrior without Shield Slam, just Bomb Warrior, coming back in for another round, and then Holy Wrath Paladin. So
yeah, I really like this Bomb Warrior as well because it's like a bomb taunt package. Like we see in the control package with taunts in form of Tomb Wardens and Armageddillo, and we see Bomb Warriors just more aggressive, and this is like a hybrid between the two. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure how viable this will be now that we've seen Mage take a massive backseat due to the recent balance changes. I guess it's a lot better against Holy Wrath Paladin because they're going to draw all of their deck anyway, and if you have 6 or 7 bombs in there, suddenly they're taking 40 damage and they can't actually win the game.
Yeah,
so
really interesting.
I can understand that perspective.
Yeah, and I think it's fun that they bring out these decks. Like they have 2 combo decks basically, and then the Bomb Warrior and the Zulok in their lineup, and hopefully targeting some matchup because this is last hero standing, not the Conquest Shield thingy that we've seen in the Grandmasters. So it's a bit different how you approach the lineup wise. So
yes, and of course, you have to worry about specific decks that can sweep through you. That's why I mentioned the other ban of the Warlock, but the Priest was banned away for Cape Town Champions, so won't be able to see many Inner Fire setups this series, which is pretty. I'd say it's a good ban given that. Given that there's a lot of combo decks in there.
yes, it's going to be interesting to see all of this.
Sorry about that.
And as usual, we have with us our 3 sponsors here. We will go into a little bit more detail about them later, but the 3 big ones are 24-Hour Fitness, which will be helping keeping the players refreshed and worked out. They have tons of studios all over the US, so for you people tuning in from the US, you have opportunities there to find a location nearby and just sign up for a free 3-day pass if you still want to. But we're jumping straight into game number 1 here, and we see the Warrior versus Paladin.
Yes, and the Warrior from Lisbon Lycanthropes has a very strong opener. We see the traditional 1-drops of the Town Crier and Eternium Rover. Definitely going to put on a lot of pressure early, which is usually how the Warrior gets there against this Reborn Paladin. The cycle of 8/8 mech eggs, the mech eggs that then get duplicated with that hero power once the quest is done, and the mech whelps that summon 7/7s can oftentimes be too much value for the Warrior to deal with efficiently if they don't have Super Collider, which, as we know, the Warrior list from the Lisbon Lycanthropes does not play. They only play 1 Spellbreaker as a way to try to disrupt the spammable mechs that are going to be coming off of the Paladin side later on in the game.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough matchup. As we know, though, the Quest Paladin has been brought in to basically counter all the Warriors. Because the Warriors aren't going off as fast as other decks, which means the Paladin has so much time to develop their quests, get everything done, and then just basically just outvalue anything that has a big board. And one of the only few bad matchups it had in the previous meta was Mage, which was why it didn't rise to prominence because of Mage being so popular. But with no mages present at all, it seems like this Paladin could just run away with a lot of games.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's sort of flipped when you consider the role Holy Wrath Paladin had in the previous meta of being a heavy mage counter, just because you had these shrink rate AoE effects, equality, etc., timeout, and then you can just kill them in one turn with the Holy Wrath. But now that mage is gone and warrior has been slightly nerfed, it's in an interesting position to see how good it is, since its best matchup and its worst matchup both got nerfed. You see how that affects the series.
Yeah, and they built this deck though with a little bit, as we see here from the Christology as well, not picking up Reborn minions because they added these bronze gatekeepers to them. Also, that's always good for Christology, but it also gives you a lot less reliability to just actually finish off your quest ASAP.
Yeah, I think the bronze gatekeepers are there because Cape Town was expecting a lot more aggression this week. Because obviously, when you use a bronze gatekeeper on a mech egg, that's already a 1/8 taunt that's summoning a 8/8 that dies. But yeah, as you rightly said, a lot of the Reborn minions do have one attack, and you would like to get those off of Christology in the early game instead. So they get a little bit punished for their like metacal, so to say.
Yeah.
Do you see the True Silver coming down, just getting control of the board early? And as long as the Paladin can stabilize, they should be in a good position. I'm gonna let you speak now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. It's basically what I was saying. It's the thing for Cape Town champions. Even though they include these bronze gatekeepers, you probably think that their deck is still good enough versus warrior. Just grind them out, and then they can hedge against more aggressive lineups. Because the bronze gatekeeper is a good way to stop any form of aggression.
Mm.
So Lisbon Lycanthrope series is sitting in quite a pickle here to try to establish some sort of aggression, but at the same time trying to shuffle as many bombs in as possible. And probably looking through the deck list as well, because this is an open deck list format, and checking like, oh, did they have any form of weapon removal? It seems like they don't, so that means like a wrench caliber is always going to be safe play. Similar situations like that. So
yeah, no, you say that, and I did notice that they took quite a long amount of time on turn 1 to play the Town Crier, and that might very well have been, like you just said, to like confirm decklist choices. Let's see, can we really hold on to the Omega Assembly until turn 10? Are we just going to try to kill them before then? Just things like that.
And here comes Cape Town Champions though with just getting that quest finished as soon as possible. Getting up to 3 in the quest completion here now. It's looking good.
As I say, we do see that they do have 2 remaining Reborn minions in their hands, so they will be able to finish the quest on turn 7 if they so choose. The only issue at the moment is that they don't have very many ways of what's called abusing that quest reward. They don't have the mech egg or the mech quilt yet, so be interesting to see how they navigate this game once the quest is complete, because we do see at the moment there will be at least 3 bombs getting shuffled in when this augmented air comes down next turn.
Yeah, there comes the Mermy as well, meaning they can finish the quest pretty fast right now if they so want to. The thing is also that even if you don't have the mech eggs and the mechanical whelps to actually use the hero power on, using it on Reborn minions is also really good value because it's sort of a death rattle. So
sort of, yeah. Yeah, they can complete the quest this turn even if they go Mermy plus I forget the 3-drop's name, like Candle Stalker? I have no idea.
Candle Taker.
Candle Taker. I thought it was something like that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. They can complete the quest now and get the hero power off this turn. But yeah, the lack of follow-up is definitely concerning to me, especially when I look on the other side, the great follow-up to their
Yeah,
like next couple of turns that Lisbon has.
Yeah, the Lisbon has like great amount of shuffling bombs, and then they have the the Blastmaster Boom at turn 7 now, which is probably the best turn 7 play you can do because, well, Dr. Boom can't be played until turn 9. Seems like they're going for the quest completion here.
Yeah, they have no reason not to, really. Why get a 1-1 Silverhand Recruit and you get a 2-2 with Reborn? It's quite a lot better.
Yeah, they don't have the mana to this turn.
Oh, but they didn't go for it.
But they didn't have the mana.
Oh no, they must have only had 5 mana.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they're
they must have
going
only had 5
next
mana, my
turn though.
apologies.
Next turn they can do like a 4-drop plus the hero power if they that happened to be, and then they have a few more turns to draw, like stuff like Mechanical Whelp. They have added stuff like Countless Ashmore as well to get more draw into the deck as well, so might be able to pick up something good there.
I'm surprised they didn't go for the 4-2 minion with Reborn there just to completely fill out their mana. I guess it's because they want to get that healing with the lifesteal later on.
Yeah, I think
still at 28.
they want to copy that instead and be sure to copy it. Because if they do it now, they won't be able to copy.
Yeah, I do see the Warpath coming down here. I think that's a little bit preemptive. I don't think they need to do that, to be honest. They could have just settled for getting the 3 bombs and then boom on 7. I don't know. Because my problem with using Warpath now is that now your opponent, like the Paladin in this case, is more heavily incentivized to go wider on the board. Their follow-up, good as it may be, they don't have any AoEs yet, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place though, because if they don't remove it, they know it will get copied, so they may be hoping you didn't have any good copy targets for next turn. Coming down now with Blastmaster Boom here, it seems like that's gonna be the play to just, well, I'm gonna get as much board presence as possible here, because that's a full 3-bomb Dr. Boom.
Yeah.
And speaking of the devil,
they
though,
do have
here's
the
the egg.
yes, because of the yeah, there's the mech egg. Yeah, but there is the Spellbreaker on the other end, along with a whole host of bombs. So this board won't be very long lived for the Paladin, unfortunately.
And the problem with the Spellbreaker is that even if it silences, if you copy it, you still get it shuffled in and everything. So it's getting there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach this as well. They can like sort of trade into Dr. Boom here.
Yeah, it's taking the train into Blastmaster Boom so that a Boombot just doesn't get a free kill. That makes sense. So, you can obviously silence the 0-5 here. The question is, how do you get rid of the A8 Delta? What are you thinking?
Well, Boombots can do 4, so couple of Boombot hits. And you're there basically. And you with the wrench caliber as well, you can clean up a little bit. So
You silence the wrench caliber into the 2-2 mech egg first before trading. I imagine you would, yes.
Yeah, and then you just hope you hit 2 bombs straight into the 8-8. Because if you don't, you're quite a bit of a pickle. Oh, you can't trade the boom as well though.
Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. Like, you hit the wrench into the 2-2, you hit boom in, so it's an 8-1, and then you trade 1-1 into 8-1.
Oh.
But they're going ahead and silencing the 2-2 version. I'm not a fan of that, if I'm being honest.
Oh, they just
clearing it. No, they're just deciding to go face.
They're just like, well, you don't have any activators for this one, and that's gonna come out really well here for Cape Town champions, though, being able to copy that one egg. Oh, unless they just die.
So they've got the Bronze Gatekeeper, so they can make a couple of 110s, and they can copy the egg with a Death Rattle, so they're not dead just yet. This might come down to those Boombots going face for 4, like you just said. I hope not, that'd be a little bit of an anticlimax.
With the Bronze Gatekeeper as well, when you copy it, it retains Taunt as well, so you can have a 2-2 egg with Taunt that actually, spawns an 8/8, so you have a lot of options there. You would love to see something like a Ziliax here, though, just to be able to really punish this play. Because you get the rush and the lifesteal and everything when you copy it.
Yeah.
Such a sweet
Well, and
deal.
Taunt. Don't forget Taunt.
Yeah, of course. Get like everything. It's just a 2/2, but still, it's a 2/2 that spawns something. You know.
Yeah. Do you ever make a 2/15? Like, instead of just having a couple of 1/10s? Because you know the Spellbreak is gone already.
Oh, you can, or you just make 2 taunts like they do here. Pretty menacing wall.
So yeah, bombs are going off. One to face isn't great. Top deck's the Brawl.
And they're 1 turn away from the Mega Devastator there. They can shuffle in even more bombs. There should be 3 bombs left in the deck. They can shuffle in 2 more up to 5. So
They can clear the 1/6 of Boom and then the 4/3 into the 2/2 and then Brawl. And that's pretty much guaranteed to clear both of the Devil Saws. Let's see what happens.
And you can actually kill the opponent here.
And oh, the 1/9 is left. All right, where are we going?
Taking some damage. Oh, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, we do see they do have that second Ancestral Guardian, the 4/2 with Reborn and Lifesteal, so they might be able to survive the onslaught bombs coming out.
Oh, that's a huge one as well. Nice pickup here just to get some more damage on this, because you just need to get something to stick to the board, and you can do like a Micro Mummy and get another taunt so it doesn't go through if you want. Or you can just get
give the Micro Mummy taunt.
Yeah, giving the Micro Mummy taunt.
Like, you do that and then you hear power and you copy it.
Yeah.
Just gotta kind of hope and pray that there's no warpath. But no, just going for the lifesteal route. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I don't mind this,
well.
but this is fairly weak to a second warpath.
It sets you up though for more health there. The Mega Devastator is going to come down. Well, your Mega
I wonder
Assembly.
what's in the Mega Assembly. Yeah.
The Town Crier will pull either a Mummy or a Ziliax, which is good. The Mega.
Alright, let's see what the Mega Assembly gives us.
Ooh,
Tomb Warden isn't bad.
The thing is, like, even if you use like Omega Devastator now to just push 3 damage, the 3 damage doesn't give you any different breakpoints. You still need 2 bombs to connect, so maybe it's just.
And plus, you just heal for that much, plus 4 next turn anyway, so yeah. Oh, we got the Scrabhound Ziliax combo for later too.
Yeah,
okay.
Now though, that's 1 bomb. Let's see.
That's 1.
Oh.
No, not quite. So they heal for 7 at this point, so they're up to 12. So they need 3 buttons to kill them next turn. So they're not quite dead yet. Question is, do you get another Guardian up? Like, are you needing to heal that much in this position?
Or do you want? What's the alternative to get a 2/2 taunt with Divine Shield? I guess. That also buffs you forward.
So it's a 3/6. So they can clear both of the Tomb Wardens. This does, however, leave them fairly vulnerable to Mega Devastator and Ziliax. The tried and true combo that clears almost any board away.
It's very little it doesn't clear. This heals you up for quite a bit, and you have the opportunity to. Well, you actually have a sticky board now, so.
Problem is that once this board is gone, that's it. There's no catch-up mechanic after that.
See here, another
So I
Elec.
see another Elec.
That doesn't do much. Can you get through here though? You can.
Yeah.
You can get through with 3 damage, and that might be important.
What now?
to just get.
I think you split Devastator and Celiax here. Like you go Devastator, clear the 4/6, Celiax, then you trade the 1/2 and the 3/3 into the 2/2, and then you rush Celiax into the 5/1. Because you're never setting up lethal here, you're just trying to establish control of the board. So this way, you prevent as much healing as possible, and you're putting more stuff in play.
Sounds like a plan.
So you're leaving so many like small tokeny guys on the other end, but I think it's fine.
But yeah, the paladin's hand is empty, so you're not that afraid of stuff. You're at the healthy life total as well. Oh, going for the combo play here.
Yeah, I guess this is fine. It does mean that it dies to the 4/1 and True Silver.
That's another bomb.
I don't think there's enough bombs in there though. I think that's the last one. They shuffled 3.
They shuffled.
Oh, no.
They
shuffled 3 or 4.
Shuffled 1 from the Clockwork, and then they shuffled from 2 full Wrench Calibers, and one of them got doubled, I think.
Ah, yeah, play the second one, yeah. So it should be about 2 left, I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we see the mech whelp here. So the paladin is dead on. Like, he's dead to drawing a bomb here because he's at 5 now.
He's gonna sit down.
Yeah, and at this point, both of the lifesteal. What's it called? Both of the lifesteal reborn minions are gone as well.
It's only
Celiax. So there's only Celiax that heals.
Omega Assembly off the top. Let's see what we get. Snip snap.
Snip snap. But yeah, looks like we're just going to be seeing a bulldozer come down, which is really hard for Paladin to deal with.
That's it.
And Mecheg's not going to do it, so they are going to take the first game. Lisbon, Lycanthropsis, there's the concede.
Wow. That's a huge win though, because that's one of the favorite matchups for this Paladin. And I mean, as you mentioned though, the Warrior had a decent start, but the Paladin was basically lacking because they had these Bronze Gatekeepers that we talked about that just basically clogged up their hand and didn't progress and didn't give you enough value.
Yeah, it's also because they just got rushed down pretty much. Like the old Control Warrior without a typical win condition besides grinding people out, like it didn't throw bombs in there, and obviously the bombs just meant that they were on a timer to try to clear the board, not really develop as many threats as they perhaps could have in a different circumstance. So I'd say the Warrior did its job, honestly. It beat, like, it was tech to beat an unfavorable, and it did that. That is by far the most important factor in order to determine a winning lineup.
Yeah, but now we're into the next game here, and they are queuing up their Quest Druid. And this Quest Druid, I've gotten a lot of different opinions on this matchup in general. Or versus Control Warrior, that said, because a lot of people are just basically saying that Quest Druid is favored. A lot of other people are saying Warrior is favored. And now we have atypical Warrior versus very typical Quest Druid. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm worried about though is because...
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. What I'm worried about is, like, Quest Druids are known to draw a ton of cards. And with these many bombs, that could be a dangerous plan, basically.
Yes, though they do have the Hidden Oasis, so they heal for 12. And they have Ferocious Howl, so they're getting quite a lot of armor as well. Normally, I come down on the side of the Warrior when I say who's favored in this matchup. Mostly because I think the Warrior can outlast all of the Druid's value. But in this particular circumstance, I'm not quite so sure about that, because while shuffling bombs in does deal damage, it doesn't act as removal. So depending on how much value you can get right at the end of the game, the Warrior could, the Druid could just barely squeeze this one out. We'll see.
Yeah, and we see here from Lisbon Lycanthropes as well, having quite an aggressive start here with the 1-drop and 3-drop, and Cape Town is in quite a pickle to decide whether they want to remove this or they just want to sack this Crystal Merchant in. because leaving up an Elec up for more than one turn is super dangerous.
Though at the same time, it doesn't progress the quest at all. I think if it was me, I personally would remove the Elic, just because you're in a position now where you're going to remove it anyway. And this is a matchup where, like, you don't really need to play cards like Oasis Surge on curve. I noticed that Cape Town decided to coin on turn 1 to advance the quest. Like, they seem fairly adamant on the idea that you want to complete the quest on curve, and in this matchup, I'm not quite sure how much that holds up. Because we see now, like, their play on 5, the Oasis Surger, it's not that great. They could have saved it until turn 6, honestly. So we'll see how this works out. This does set up a pretty good Starfall, though.
Yeah, this is a pretty good Starfall. Clears off everything except the mummy if they want. Also, using all these Aces Searcher here, you will take off some damage if you want, and still leave some bodies, so both have them valid.
The only issue with Oasis Surge, it doesn't really clear very much. It clears the 3-3 and the 3-2 and leaves the 3-1 up, right? So Starfall basically does the same job, just a little bit better.
Yeah,
because you're clearing everything else.
Oh, Wrench Caliber coming into hand here, though.
Yeah.
That's perfect, just on time, so you...
Yeah, this is 3 bombs at this point, I believe, so
yeah.
We'll see 6 boombots come down next turn, which is pretty good.
It's pretty perfect. Exactly what you want here. Unworthy, or the Worthy Expedition is picked up here. So you can actually curve out with this Oasis Surgery if you want to remove this mummy.
What would you want from this?
Probably a heal. You're getting quite low already.
Ancient of War.
That's a big
not sure
boy.
I like an Ancient of War right now.
It's a big boy for next turn, and you know this this warrior doesn't run any toll removal. It has no shield slams, no executes.
It has Spellbreaker though, which feels kind of bad.
True.
So, I'm just trying to think of ways that they deal with Boom next turn. So I think you have to expect it at least a little bit in the back of your mind if you're seeing Wrench Caliber to face on 6.
Yeah.
You have to expect it at least a little bit, because the Druid doesn't play weapon removal. That Wrench could have been swung in at any time. So I can appreciate something the 5/5 here like quite a bit more. Like if they're expecting Boom to come in.
So there's 3 bombs in the deck, so the Boom gets full value even if you don't swing. The thing is, do you want to swing to remove a 5/2? Then you forego value with the Elec. So...
You could full clear the board here if you go Elec Mummy. And then like you swing the Wrench to the 5/2 and then Mummy clears the other one.
That might be
that
things,
does
but
give
like...
initiative back to the Druid though.
Is that good? Is that better than a full board Boom? That's the question.
I think you get an extra... honestly. I don't think it is, but it's worth considering at the very least.
I think what they're considering now is basically if we're going to swing or not with this Blastmaster Boom. If this Elec wasn't in hand, we would see the Snap Boom play all at once. But considering like how much value is it in one extra bomb in the deck? But it's a tough decision.
I mean, you're also leaving a 5/2 up if you don't swing as well, right? So you're essentially consigning a Blastmaster Boom to dying without actually clearing anything. So I can appreciate like just swinging in just to clear the 5/2. Like the bomb is an obvious benefit, but it's mainly getting rid of the 5/2.
Yeah, let's see. Blastmaster Boom. So this can be cleared up with something like a swipe if you want, but you gotta take a lot of damage doing that. And you can also risk it, like you can risk it with the Oasis Surger and just like, yeah, it soaks 4 damage. That does every time. Well,
you have the Wrath as well, right?
Yeah, true.
So like you can swipe, and then if Oasis Surger dies, like you go face of Oasis Surger, and then if it dies, you just Wrath.
True.
I mean, you would Wrath anyway if you go face first, but like, I think soaking damage here is perfectly reasonable, like for the Oasis Surger to do. Get hit in like for 12 or something to the face here. That would be very awkward.
Doing the rat first. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're gonna do.
Spending their
they're
whole
not gonna
turn
take
though.
too much from this.
That's the problem. It's spending their whole turn, giving initiative back to the warrior, and you take most likely a bunch of damage here. So a little
3
bit,
to
next
face, 7 to face. That's not actually that bad.
Yeah, 2 Wardens, Snap Blade down. You have the Town Crier now to pick up Celiac as well, so you can push 9 next turn if you want.
Mm.
Yeah.
Clear here with Oasis Surger plus a Wardred Loti. And then you
True.
follow that up on 9 with Scenarius, possibly.
Seems like a good plan here. Going forward, giving you
Yeah.
a decent sized board. Rollable board, I guess.
It's also fairly weak against the Restless Mummy, because it clears Loti and one of the elementals. That works too.
Just use the Warpath
Yeah,
off the top. Just to spread a little salt, and then you play the Town Crier after.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Scenarius is still coming down. At this point,
so good.
the main way you beat warriors is just by forcing out their removal. Eventually they'll run out, and that's where you capitalize.
Yep.
To me, at this point, is that there's no real follow-up after Scenarius, so they might go for Nourish just to try to get like follow-up post Scenarius.
Oh, the thing is they have Floop in hand, so they can do scenarios into Floop, basically doing 2 scenarios board, which is huge.
True,
the other thing is
but you
Nourish.
also... sorry.
Nourish can kill you, yeah.
But you also have a Floop for a Cephas the Great, like at the end of the game. And I'm trying to recall, I'm just going to check the deck list real quick. They do play Elise, if I am correct about it. Oh no, they do not play Elise, so they only have at most the 1 Floop. So I could see them saving it for King Faurus. So you go King Faurus, summon a large board, they brawl, and then you go Faurus again. And hopefully that'll be enough to push them over the line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see them holding on to the Floop for quite a while longer. But no, they're just going to go for it right away with the Oasis Surger. That's interesting.
Bomb.
I am not sure how this is better than Scenarios this turn, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Oh, it sets up a really good Scenarios turn, though.
Yes, though that in turn is setting up a really insane brawl for the warrior.
True. Yeah, that's going.
And yeah, Lisbon is just saying, "Yep, I'm just gonna go for the bomb kill." Just to say, "Yep, not getting on board. Just gonna try to kill your bombs now." If they don't draw a bomb this turn, though, Cape Town can recover fairly nicely. They've got double Ferocious Howl.
Yeah, but you need.
Probably just gonna howl first.
Or you Scenarios makes you safe, except for Brawl. But how can backfire to just throwing a bomb, but just removing all the armor, and they do.
Oh my god, it actually happened! Wow.
Oh! The armor happens after as well, so it means they just die. That's that's
really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think the Ferocious Howl is still the correct play though, because if you play Scenarios, you're basically just hoping your opponent has like no way of answering the taunts it generates. I don't think that's not a winning line. Most of the time you don't draw the bomb on the first card, and then you can just howl twice, and then you're back up to like 10, 12 armor or something, and then you can stabilize. So a little bit of bad luck on the Cape Town side there.
Oh, look at this hand from Lisbon though. They keep on drawing these 1-drops right on cue here. This is a different matchup altogether though, and a reason why they didn't queue it into this, because this shaman, even though it has like a lot of value, a lot of the value is just basically lackey wave after lackey wave after lackey wave. And I can't remember who said it, but someone says like, if you want to win this matchup versus warrior, your goal is to just basically hire all the mutates and the evolved lackeys.
That's funny. I actually disagree with that. I think the way you win this matchup against the Warriors is just play super aggressively.
Oh,
Like
true.
you just like you plop down like double life drinkers, double 5/5s. Like it's just forcing your opponent to like have answers, and if they don't, you just win pretty much.
It's true.
Like in a world where you have Barista and you stick a ball and then you go hero power Barista, you basically never lose the game in this matchup. Against standard control, that is. Against bombs, on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, bombs
It's
are
sort of
quite a
the
different
same
beast.
issue.
Yeah, this is the same issue with the shaman as well. Like you draw a lot of cards with this deck when you start drawing after the quest completed, and that can be an issue. But the thing is also you can usually also draw a lot and have a full hand because it's easy to keep a full hand with all the lackey generation. So I guess that's a way out as well to just diffuse all the bombs. But this Eternium Rover turn 1 though is into the Snip Snap is looking quite good here from
The
from
dream
Lisbon.
scenario here, and I don't think they'll go for it. The dream scenario is that you go a Sludge Slurper on 2 hit, and you get Rush Lackey, and then you just kill the Rover. But I don't blame them for not going for it. That's a very risky line of thought.
Yeah, so going with the AoE here to try to contest it, but getting instantly punished by the Snip Snap. The curve just seems to work out for Lisbon here with the Clockwork Goblin pickup into the Wrench Caliber. Just like
Yeah. Alright, let's see. Oh, they're going for it now. By looks of it. I think if they're going for Sludge now, they should have went for it last turn. They could have also gotten some of the 2-drop Lackey last turn as well. Which would have been better than the 2/2 in that circumstance, because then you can just AoE as the follow-up.
no.
Now it doesn't feel nearly as strong, in my opinion at least.
Still good though. It's just not that good.
Like, I'm just trying to think. So let's say they go for this line on 2. Like they go Sludge Surfer and damage Lackey in 2, and then you go Coin Snip Snap. Like, you would now be in a better position to decide to AoE later. I don't know.
True. Like for instance,
I think I'm harping on this a little bit too much. It just feels like questionable sequencing, if I'm being honest.
But yeah, getting the adventure here though is questing explorer is huge though. Getting that off before. Ooh,
That's the whole point. It's in the deck. I would hope.
Couple lackeys though.
So if I'm not
Doing
mistaken, this is 5 of 6 on the quest now.
No tomb can hold me.
Should be, yeah.
Yes, yes, it is. Okay. So yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah. So yeah, like I said, that is absolutely huge then, because otherwise it wouldn't be available post quest.
Look at this.
So
Quest completed. Turn 5. Pretty standard when you get like the Sludge Snurpers and the Gale Rats.
the issue is though, is that they're out of cards.
Yeah, they have no draw,
No tomb can hold me.
which is sad. Like lacking draw is always sad. Yeah, there's the second mummy. Not gonna play it, it seems. Just go for the Wrench Caliber instead. Just basically because it's a better setup.
Yeah, you don't really want to play the rest of this mummy until you're actually attacking into something. Just because then, like, you're not really getting much value out of the rush.
Ooh, this is a horrible draw though. Like the Wasp is not active. If you put down the totem, you get 1 lackey and then it dies. Just playing out this mind control tech to soak up a charge, I guess.
Engaging TC-130 mental dislocator.
Yeah, and you're not really ever seeing 4 minions against the warrior. It makes sense. It's lackey, which isn't bad.
Oh,
Like, it may soak up an AoE.
Flunky is huge.
Fell
though.
lackey, which would have been quite a lot more useful when they're out of cards, unfortunately.
The Flunky, I guess. Yeah, and then you play the mummy.
No tomb can hold me.
And you're not afraid
fighting
of the 3
Flunky
damage,
is a really strong card for that reason, and it can get itself like a good old Stonehill defender.
Yeah, I love the card text on Flunky. It's basically discover 2 options and then echo on it. That's the card. 2 mana 2/2 Echo with Taunt.
It's not bad, apparently.
Yeah, it's not bad.
The Militia was 3 mana 2 for Taunt Echo, right? And
Yeah.
that was not bad.
It's 1 bomb. So it's 1 bomb left.
That is a huge pickup right there. The Sludge Surfer, which gives them their much needed card draw.
Gives them gas basically. So play the hero power and then you just fill up your hand with stuff. Now you activate.
See if
your
they get the Evolve
boss.
Lackey, that'd be so. Oh, and they
Oh,
do!
shit.
Oh, this could be huge. And some,
Decent pickups from the there. This means you can value trade and then
we make a 9-drop. Come on, yes, Sarah, let's go. Yes, Sarah.
Geppetto into Malagos.
Malagos. That was
No,
not
it's-
the 4-top I was asking for. Yeah. No, I think they wanted a green version of that dragon. I think
Like,
you
it's
should
still
get
good,
your
though,
Evolve
because
Lackey returned.
It's a rough minion to remove. Yeah, this is just the brawl. Yeah, hopefully the Malagos doesn't survive.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I would have much preferred Ysera there, because Ysera would have given them the dream card at least. Would have had some value, but unfortunately that did not happen.
Playing the Funky here, trying to get something. Ooh, the Wild Warden and the
Yeah.
Bone Wraith. Not bad pickups at all.
Pretty sure, yeah, Violet Warden makes sense, because you can go Violet Warden and then Warpath twice, and that's a 4 damage AoE.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive Flame Strike I've seen in a while, but if it works, it works.
That's a good pickup though as well with Novice Engineer here, being able to pick up more cards into this lacking hand. Another Novice Engineer
Double
just
dip.
right off the top here. Ooh, that's juice.
That's exactly what Cape Town needed, just being able to get all of these cards. I'm not a fan of that use of the Lackey though. Bit of a turn on that. Just because now you're kind of like pigeonholed into using the Cable Rat if you want to use the Wasp later. It feels like it's forcing their hand a little bit.
Yeah, so they're like this is a board like Warpath isn't worth it, but it's still because of the lackeys. You know they're out of lackeys in hand, but and you know that if you removes it, Wasps is turned off. So it's a bit iffy to if you want to remove it or not.
Yeah, I could see him just going for 2-1 here, just a safe 8-drop. Though being safe isn't necessarily making the right play. But it looks like they're just going to go for it anyway. Just it's turn 8, why not?
Comes to mutate. So
they're at 9 mana now, so they can go with Wasp, like Hero Power Wasp Life Drinker if they so choose, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. Yeah.
I'm gonna save the life drinkers for a little bit. Oh,
There's the
comes
Spell
the-
Lackey.
Spell
Let's
lackeys
see
are
what
always
Spell Lackey
good.
gives them. Hex isn't bad.
Yeah, you got draw, you got some taunts, and you got removal. So you got like it's basically a Zephyrs giving you a little bit of everything.
Go for Rain of Toes, just trying to get a large board, and
Ooh,
Bloodlust.
Bloodlust though. That's
Ooh.
huge.
That is pretty spooky, especially if this board of just small things just stays up. So you never know. We could see a bit of a spooky finish with Bloodlust.
Bloodlust in general, it's like a lot of people are experimenting with adding it as a one-off in this deck. The thing is, like, it just feels meh from time to time.
It's just clunky is the issue.
Yeah, but when you get it from Spell like it feels so good. That's why people are considering it. But let's see here, Omega Assembly is good for next turn. 2 Omega Assemblies, so
Yeah. I was about to say, the Warrior at this point is kind of running out of options a little bit. Like they've got they've got Violet Warden and Goblin on 9, and then after that it's just relying on random mechs pretty much.
yeah, and it
Yeah,
seems
they
like
obviously
they
don't
want
want
to
to
save
warp
this
off a
Goblin
board
as
like
well.
this.
Like they know that the shaman has drawn up quite a few cards, and they look like they're saving this weapon charge and the goblin. Oh, they decide to use it now, I think, for trying to hit an Elec, I guess, because they want to shuffle as many bombs in as possible. But they know also as soon as the shaman goes for like a Shadowwalk turn, they will draw like 2 cards, and then they can just die from that. And yeah.
I think it's also just because it just puts stuff on board. Like, giving the shaman control of the board is a pretty dangerous prospect, especially if they did hypothetically have a Bloodlust in their hand. Like, you never know if the Spell Lackey has stolen many a professional Hearthstone player's careers away from them, so I'm pretty sure Lisbon is going to be very much on the lookout for stuff like that if they can avoid it.
So should we make 8-drop? That's the question now. And you can't trade with it, which is sad. Or are you just trading it away? That's the question here. Because the mutate is always useful for like using on Shadowwalk or something like that as well. So has the Giggling Inventor.
Because I say you could go Mogu and then just Bloodlust now.
Oh yeah.
Because Bloodlust now is still like 8 power into the 4/7. It still works. It's not quite a finisher, but it still does its job. Alright, what drop is it? It is a Splinter Graph, so it's not too bad.
An 8/8 is okay. Or playing basically a free card.
And Evolve Lackey, ooh. Let's see, it's going for the assembly, not the best mix up first. Just gonna go for the other one. Do they get... Oh, they got 2 Boom Reavers.
More bombs though.
Yeah. The problem is that this 8/8 is being left very much uncontested. It's going to be pushing quite a bit of damage now.
Yeah, the problem is also that they don't have Dr. Boom active, so these mechs doesn't count as removal either, so...
And of course Boomer costs 9 mana now, so they can't even play a mech in the hand on the same time Boom comes down. It's definitely a showing the devastation that change has done to Warrior.
Here hits the mind control attack. It's not a huge hit.
It's not too bad. Oh, sorry, after you.
Yeah, I guess like now how they follow it up. Do they want to silence the totem, or do they just want to build something with Explodinator? Like Explodinator, like basically gives you something to mechanize or magnetize into if you want. Spellbreaker is more stats.
Yeah, the problem is there is nothing to magnetize on at this point, and seeing another Drawn Bomb, and there's the Shadowwalk.
That's huge though. So
I don't think they go for it this turn though. They actually have a pretty cool, like they can trade Splinter Graph and then make it a 10-drop and like Life Drinker twice. Like, oh, they're just gonna Shadowwalk now? Okay. I'm not sure I agree with this. I think I would have waited until after the Life Drinker comes down to get a bit of healing as well, but I guess it's fine. Just setting up for future turns for the Shadowwalk.
Oh, they actually are. They didn't want the 10-drop, they wanted a 9-drop because of the higher value of 9-drops, I guess. Because 10-drops is mostly just stats. 9-drops is more effects, I guess.
Well, there's not really that many effects on 9, is there? There's
you have
Sarah.
You have all the dragons, though, which is good. Like,
I was about to say, you have Ysera and Noz, like Noz Dormu. I was about to say, those are the only 2 effects I can think of that are, like, relevant.
But you got stuff like Jiraxis here, stuff like you got different stat lines. Like 10 cost is a lot of like King Feoris and a lot of low rolls basically as well.
I don't know. Maybe they were hoping for like the dream of getting like Crush hit him for 8.
Oh,
Maybe that's what they were hoping for.
The dream.
I don't know. But yeah, next turn the Shadowwalk's coming down, and the Warriors not got that much they can do about it really.
No, they're just trying to build the board, I guess. You can do like 4-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop, or you can just do like this, yeah. Get some healing. Building up something. It's a bit awkward to deal with as well because it's 4 health. There's comes a Bog Slasher though.
So they could, if they wanted to, hit and then pounce Jiraxis later.
Get Jiraxis on your target. That would not be that good,
Mm.
no. Getting Volv Lackey isn't that good either, so like if they had stuff like Kobo Lackey on board, that would be perfect.
Rush Lackey getting bounced is not that bad.
True.
Because then you can rush a 5-3 bulk slosher into the Explodinator, and then you have a 5-5 Lackey.
True.
It's not bad.
Is it better than just Shudder Walking though?
Not better than just Shadowwork, yeah. It's worth considering at least.
Yeah, these Bug Slasher will get value anyways because you will fill up your hand with quite a bit of.
Oh, here we go, it's Shadowwork time.
Drawing some, healing some, damaging some.
Yeah, unfortunately they ran out of time. Like, unless they managed to play a random 1-drop Lackey that they found. They might have played that Evolve Lackey like right at the last second to get a 10-drop, I could see that.
Face.
Oh. Crystal Merchant, ooh.
It's cute.
Still the Crystal Merchant, they might have decided, oh wait, they've got a full hand actually. 1, 2, 3,
Oh, yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah.
So
I guess +6/+6 for 1 mana. Yeah, that's probably better than just drawing a card. Yeah, my bad. And with no brawl, I'm pretty sure they're just dead. I don't know how Lisbon come back from this, honestly.
how many bombs is in the deck though? Not
They've drawn
many.
2 so far, I believe, so there's still like, what, 2
Two
left?
more. Yeah, I think so. So this Boom Warpath could do magic, but
Yeah. I say I'm not the biggest fan of that proposition. You could go Goblin Boom, but nah, then you're just dead. So
it's like the only.
I guess
surviving
that's
player.
what they're going for. Kinda sucks.
Yeah, 2 bombs left. And they need to hit like everything perfectly.
No.
No.
Oh
No?
no,
You're
that
dead.
is 22 on board. So just need 2 more damage. Oh, this is 2 more damage, and we are going to game 4.
And we're going to game number 4 here. With this Quest Shaman just pulling it through here.
Yeah.
So what do we have left here for Lisbon? They have 2 more decks left though.
2 more
they have
decks left. So they have the
Malygos
Druid and the
Druid and the
Paladin, I
Paladin.
believe.
And none of them really shapes up well versus Quest Shaman, do they?
I'd say the Paladin is a pretty good show against Quest Shaman. Quest Shaman doesn't put on that much pressure in the early game. It doesn't have that much healing. So you might be able to get there with just 1 Holy Rev. It depends on how good they pilot the Paladin deck, because I tell you, I cannot pilot this Paladin deck well to save my life. It is way too difficult for me.
Yeah, I saw that as well in the Open Cups. Like I was theorizing, like Holy Wrath Paladin is really good versus what we face in the field here, especially if you tech it correctly in the Specialist. But I wasn't confident enough to bring it because, well, like you need to play it pretty optimally. And you saw like stuff like Gia did 1 Masters Cup or Open Cup and just qualified with Holy Wrath Paladin because it's just the nuts.
Good day is just really hard to play, and oh, that is a huge draw on turn 1.
Yeah,
Getting
that makes it much
Crystology
easier
on-
to play. Crystology just makes it so much easier to play.
Yes, just gives you like a nice, easy curve. I'm surprised they didn't keep Prismatic Lens, but if you draw Crystology on 2, oh sorry, on 1, then who am I to complain?
Yeah, they knew that if we mulligan this as well, we will get the Crystology.
Yeah, just trying to maximize those odds, I suppose. Do you evolve the Novice here? Just so he can't trade into your Novice?
Maybe? No, they didn't, but it was a consideration for a more aggressive start.
Like, In
Like,
my
this 3-3
mind,
is
I don't see you ever getting that much value out of evolving the 7-drop. Because A, Paladin's not going to be that much on board, and B, because you have to kill the Paladin before they just combo you to death. So in my mind, it's just trying to force out weak turns again.
Yeah, they might actually thinking of doing it with a life drinker instead to get a 5-drop, because when you're into the 7-drop territory, basically, the Paladin usually has a lot of the AoE removal online anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. Or maybe they're hoping that they draw a former champ and they get it on that, so they get a 6-drop. That's also possible.
So getting the second true silver
Let's
here.
see. Oh, they actually get it! Wow.
That's huge, though. That's going to be a huge power turn next turn. And this is also starting to get a little out of hand for Lisbon as well, because like Cape Town now is 6 damage showing on board and starts pushing, with the next turn being huge. This consecration though is a huge pickup.
Yeah, I don't think they go through this turn though. I like the True Silver a bit more, just because it puts more stuff. Sorry, like, it answers more stuff directly, and you have Shrink Ray on 5 anyway, so you're not too concerned about the couple of free frees if you can just True Silver on them.
Yeah, the
But,
consecration. Consecration is better also used with like Pyromancer to clear up a lot of the 3 health stuff.
But going for the evolve now, let's see what they get. A meteorologist! That was not what they were hoping for.
It's a huge low roll.
+2/+2 is pretty good, to be fair. So... do you Shrink Ray now? You could possibly go for a Pyro turn here.
I wonder.
Like, Pyromancer, coin... like, you trade Novices to the 3/3, and then you go Pyro, coin, Prismatic Lens, and they use the sword, and you clear a thing off the table. Doesn't sound that bad.
True.
Does cost you your coin, but I think that's something you're willing to sacrifice in this situation.
Your hand is quite full, so you need to get rid of something, and getting rid of coin while clearing stuff is always good. So
yeah, like, it clears 3 cards from your hand to draw 2, so you're -1 card in the hand, so you're not really at risk of overdrawing on the following turn either. But no, I'm just gonna go for the Shrink Ray. Okay, I don't think I agree with this. I think I would have went for the Pyro clear instead. Because there's not that many 1/1s that the deck generates that you need to save Pyromancer for.
oh, it's the giggling, I
Mainly
guess.
with Equality and Shrink Ray.
My shield for Argus.
Here comes one of the tech cards here with the Defender of Argus. Coming in clutch. Now though, Pyro Consecrate is an option.
More of Wrath, Hero Power, maybe?
Wrath, Flash of Light? Yeah.
It's like, I'm looking at, yeah, like, Flash of Light Trucer, I guess that works too. Especially, I'm just looking at this pile of cards and I'm like, oh man, that last turn, I think is a little bit better. We do see an 8-drop though, now with the Giggling Inventor, and the quest is done, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be huge here going forward here now. The hand from the Shaman is getting quite meh, to say it least, but this board needs answering, and the quality is picked up.
So probably like Pyromancer Equality. But yeah, they just need like one good like card draw thing, like Novice Engineer or Cable Rat, and then I think the Shaman's hand's in a pretty fine position, honestly.
Yeah, you can even do like a timeout now, just to stall out one more turn of building if they want.
I don't think the Shaman would be developing that much stuff on the board anyway. I think it's fine just to clear it now.
I guess this is just fine. Getting in the hero power, having the weapon charge ready for when you do the combo. Because you need to actually get them down to 25 as well. That
That
card
is
is not
true.
what he was looking for.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that actually.
Agree
Playing the
with what?
totem now forces an answer of some kind, whether it's True Silver or Hammer of Wrath or anything, it still forces a response. Oh, and another Christology pickup. That is very important. So that also thins the deck of like bad outcomes from Prismatic Lens as well.
So
So
how
like
do you
now
go?
Prismatic Lens can get you the Banker or Shivala.
Yeah.
I wonder.
It's quite the pickle going forward here now, though. They need to. They're not low on health, but they're not really high either. 16 is not a low amount. Second timeout.
They
picks
have
up
Crystal
here.
Smith Kangle though, so if they ever need to and they have Shivala, they can just like heal for 14 and then shuffle
That's
it in.
true.
Because you only need the one Holy Wrath to actually finish the game in this matchup, because the Shaman has such limited amounts of healing.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't have much more damage though going forward here. So
Well, they're at
here
29 now, and then just one hit of the sword and Holy Wrath for 25 ends the game.
It's true.
And the Paladin is pretty low on cards. I believe they're down to about 9 or 8, if I'm not mistaken.
10.
Yeah, 10 cards in the deck at this point. So they
There's
have
like
one
Shivala,
Hammer of Wrath,
Celiac, 2 bankers.
2 Baleful Banker, 2 Holy Wrath.
Yeah. It's not that much. Another consecration. Yeah. They have some damage left as well. Another flash of light. So they have some draw. Yeah. And with this Hammer of Wrath as well, they're able to draw a little bit more. So he will get through there in a few turns now. Picking up a lot of lackeys though, and it's just gonna get played here to get the biggest Shadow Wall the world's ever seen next turn.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've seen bigger, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like the Plague of Murlocs hit just to get rid of that Crystals of Kangaroo in some way, because if that thing heals the Paladin, it's not going to be pretty.
Oh, the double
I guess the Lackey does it too, because it pops the shield and then hits it for 2. I guess that works.
one way of doing it.
Yeah, and Founder's Consecrate does clear the board and puts the Paladin, puts the Shaman at 25. So it does do a setup.
Yeah.
But they're not going
Thing is
to
you
go
want
for it.
them
They're going to go for the lens and timeout, I guess. They could still go for it with Founders, I guess. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, with the 2 mana consecrate, it's like, yeah, well, why not?
Kind of sucks that the banker costs 4 now, so now it's harder to go for the combo if they have to do it a second time. But it should work.
Here's a bunch of
Back to full, got a pretty decent board.
buffs up a lot. Hits face down to 12.
We could lightning picked up. Don't think you're going to be seeing much use out of that, unfortunately.
This move of Flesh Shaper though makes them able to clear off this town walls, which is quite important now, because that means stuff like the second consecrate or Hammer of Wrath can, when they go face, they have a little less spell damage. This
So
though,
they can still just equality consecrate, and that clears the board.
yeah.
It does leave them vulnerable for a lethal setup next turn, though. But maybe they go Flash of Light face, equality, hit into an Annoyatron, and then timeout. It's like, then you set up the board to be cleared next turn, and you can't die. Risking stuff like second damage Lackey plus Wasp lethal out of nowhere.
Oh, you got 2 timeouts as well, so you can go timeout back to back here, and there's not much cards left in the deck, so you just need to calculate a few next turns how many or what they want to do. going for the prismatic lanes, getting Shivala and the second Holy
A
Wrath.
25 mana Holy Wrath, that is not good.
That means they need
Pushed
to do
into
5
only
damage.
using one Holy Wrath this game. That is not what Lisbon were hoping for.
Well, they do have Consecrate and Hammer of Wrath, which is 5 damage. So they got the damage, and there's no more healing for Cape Town besides the lifesteal minion on board at the moment.
Well, that's
And
not necessarily true, actually, because they can get Spell Lackey, and then Spell Lackey can get healing.
that's
Because it's not like they can use all of this in one turn, they have to do it
Spread
over
it
multiple
out, yeah.
turns. Yeah.
So here you can go Wild Pyromancer, Hammer of Wrath face, then Equality.
I wonder.
That doesn't set up lethal.
No. What about
Also leaves the 2-2. Oh no, it doesn't leave the 2-2 up.
you need to do
I
something?
think you just go like Pyro Equality, and then possibly like Shivala afterwards. Oh. So awkward because of the Holy Wrath costing 25 mana.
Yeah,
I
or
wonder
else you
if
can
there
just
was another spell left for Prismatic Lens to hit, and they were just hoping not to roll the 50-50.
I wonder.
I'm not sure. It's like I don't think so.
Yeah, because it was a pretty specific combination for it to roll both Holy Wrath and Shivala. Like, I'm wondering if there's a possibility that there's more than just Holy Wrath as a spell option, because that does seem like something I would consider, at least a little bit, if I was in Lisbon's position.
Yeah, because just chugging the Holy Wrath face, just even if you don't hit the Shivala, just to do some damage is also always good. But you can't do that now when it's 25. So.
Yeah.
I hope you like my invention.
Alright, so going for Novice. And there's another Cable Rat, so they could get Spell Lackey for healing this time. Taunt Lackey. Okay, so there is no further healing at this point. Which means that Holy Wrath hitting one time will be enough to end the game.
Yeah, so you do Consecrate, Hammer of Wrath, and then you do the Holy Wrath combo afterwards, or you do it the other way around.
Well, you wanna heal for 7 with Shivala as well, don't forget. So you wanna trade into something with Shivala.
Oh yeah.
So you go so at 0 cards, so you go Shivala Baleful Banker, Consecration Hammer of Wrath. So like you've drawn your deck again, you're not taking fatigue or anything. Like they're at 25 and then next turn you just win the game.
The last one.
Okay, so Holy Wrath was the only spell, they just got a little bit unlucky with what minion came off of it.
Yeah, they were hoping to get like a banker.
Or
Or
just
the
not
Celeste.
Shivala.
Yeah, not Shivala. Because they had like banker, Wild Pyro.
They had Banker, Pyro, and Ziliox as other options, so it's like 25% to get Shivala there. So that's a little bit unfortunate.
So now though, yeah, they're going for the Holy Wrath play here, I think.
You Hammer of Wrath face 2, you just commit.
Yeah, you should.
It's time to test your metal.
Also,
Because
heal
you can
for
still
10.
go Shivala, Banker, Holy Wrath next turn,
Quickly.
Yeah,
so it's not that bad to do it now. It's just that you don't have enough mana to do it next turn, and you can't just Hammer of Wrath and Holy Wrath next turn, you have to do it in one turn at a time.
I'm out of cards.
so what can you die from though? Like if they get any sort of healing and manage to clear, because they can clear the Shivala. And if they get any kind of healing, you're done. Thing is, for Cape Town,
Yeah. I don't really see... Is there any... Wait. Oh! Oh, I see it. you can hero power and play the 2-drop lackey, and it can get scale hide.
Oh.
The scale hide is life steal and rush. And then, because you have the patient assassin, you clear the board anyway. And it gets better. You have the bog slosher. So if you get scale hide, you can bounce scale hide and then play it as a
play it.
5/7, and then you're at 30.
And you didn't
But
get it.
unfortunately, that didn't happen. But that would have been amazing if that actually
Oh,
happened.
they're going for it. They're going for it.
Oh, they got one more chance at it. Let's see if they get it. They got one more chance. Alright, just waiting for the animation to go off. Did they get it? No.
No.
No, that's
it's different
right.
rush. Rogue rush minion. Ah.
It's unfortunate.
No.
Yeah. So they're just gonna Shivala, Banker, Holy Wrath, and that would be that. Lisbon will have won 3-1. That would have been an amazing finish though for the Shaman if that actually happened.
Greatest finish of all time.
Ah well.
So yeah, quite the interesting matchup there. Basically, winning with the bomb warrior early just basically made them able to have all these options to beat the quest shamans in the end. So
Sort of what LHS is about, right? It's about snowballing an advantage after you win an unfavorable matchup usually, and that's pretty much exactly what happened.
yeah, it's been great casting with you, but we have one more match coming up later. It's going to be Paris versus Vienna. So it's going to be another LHS matchup with two mastodons of this in this format here at House Rivalries. But we have a big shout out first to our sponsors here. We have 3 sponsors that is making all of this possible and making all of us being able to broadcast and cast this. The first one is 24-Hour Fitness, which is a huge fitness change. I think it's the second biggest one in the US. With more than 436 locations spread around in a lot of different states. And currently, they have a promotion here now. You can have a 3-day free pass, which you just can, if you just do one of the sponsor quests that you can follow on the links down below here. And so you can just try to practice a little bit, work out a little bit, get those APM fingers out and everything here. The second sponsor is GameStop, as we talked about a lot. This one of the biggest branches and biggest companies in gaming as a whole here. They've started up a whole new program now, basically featuring coaching and a lot of more other stuff you can do on their site, and you can power up during their rewards program that costs $16 or $15.99 for 1 year. And you get like a membership that you can accumulate points that you can spend on different type of services in the GameStop universe here. Last but not least, we have Matcherino, which is Kickstarters for events. Basically, if you have an esport event or a gaming related event, you can use Matcherino, get people to crowdfund prize pools, caster salaries, production crew, and everything to make your event that much better. And you can apply for different partnership programs. So just check them out. And hopefully we will see many more of you using all of these sponsors because they're great people to work with. So, and you can also, since we are partnering with Matcherino, there's also this thing that since it's a Kickstarter, if you want to donate to see these teams get a bigger prize pool, that's always open for. You're always open for donations here. My PayPal is now. I'm just kidding. Just follow the links and you'll find out this tournament. So, any last words, Paradox?
No, it's been a pleasure working with you as always, Delta. Thanks to all of the staff at House Rivalries. There we go, got it. First time, good job, me. As I say, thanks to all the staff having me on, and I hope to be back with my favorite Norwegian casting buddy, Delta.
Yeah, thank you. Always
Even if he does get a little bit too much flack, especially by me.
Yeah, that's perfect. But we're done here for now. Faluar and Necra will follow up shortly, so stay tuned.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to House Rivalries Nations Division. My name is Nekra, joined by Falular, and we are back in action today, bringing you another round for this Swiss Week 1. Falular, how are you doing? And are you just as excited about this match that's coming up? Because we got some incredible lineups.
Hey Nekra, hey everybody. Indeed, I'm very excited. We just went through the lineups of both teams. Both teams have very interesting lineups, with Paris opting for bringing the Control Shaman, a very weird and fringe deck brought by Viper to GM recently. Didn't do really well, got swiped 2-0. But they decided to bring it anyway, probably expecting aggressive lineups. They have the Control Warrior and the Tempo Priest next to it with their Quest Druid band. On the other hand, we have Vienna. Vienna got their Quest Shaman band while having a very weird variant of Quest Druid. No Nomi, no Elise, not going for the long run, going for more removal. 2 copies of Bees, 2 copies of Swipes, 2 copies of Starfall, pretty much expecting aggressive decks as well. They are complementing that with the Mech Hunter and the OTK Paladin. Pretty much both teams expected aggro, both teams did not get it. And that's why we're getting a very interesting matchup here. I would say that Vienna's Druid is going to struggle to get a win. And yeah, pretty much a very interesting series. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a long one. So might want to grab some drinks, grab some snacks, and buckle up for this incredible set for Paris top decks versus Vienna legendaries. I mean, this is kind of like a more of a meta battle in itself, right? What's going to win out, the top decks or the legendary minions that make your deck so powerful, right?
Yeah, that's a really interesting cue as well from Paris here, because they went for the combo priest, arguably the deck that suffered the least from the nerfs, probably the best deck in the game right now according to many players. They're grabbing it first. They're saying that's the best deck in the game. We think we can swipe with that. And I'd say it's a very bold choice. I'd probably go for one of my control decks. Probably the Warrior. I feel that can probably swipe a little bit better than the Priest, because the Priest is going to struggle both against Paladin, and it's going to struggle against the Mech Hunter as well, although not quite as well, probably like 50 matchup. The Druid is the matchup they want to get, and they actually got it. So really interesting cues from both teams. I think Vienna should have probably queued the Paladin or the Hunter. Basically, very interesting choices. I didn't expect either of them from both teams, and it worked out for Paris's favor this time.
I mean, it is a good meta read, though, by both of these teams to go with something a little bit more control-oriented, especially because I feel like in tournament settings, you have seen a lot of the aggressive lineups, like myself included. I love running aggro. It makes it really easy to win kind of one-off matches if you do get a chance to play your Murloc Paladin or something like that. But I agree with you that this is going to be a really interesting matchup, just based on how the pace of these is, these games are going to go. For the first couple of turns, we might not see more than one card get played as these teams are feeling each other out and setting up for future turns.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a good read. We have been seeing players in both GM and other tournament environments, including House Rivalries, doing incredibly well with aggressive lineups. Zoo Warlock has been quite strong. Murloc Paladin has been quite strong. Really, decks that can swipe the decks in this current meta. And I think both teams have had a correct read, and they were probably too afraid to go beyond that and think, okay, we made this read that aggro is going to be popular. Maybe the opposite teams will do the same, so we should do something completely different.
Yeah.
So I think Vienna went that extra mile just a little bit, bringing the Mech Hunter and the OTK Paladin, 2 decks that are traditionally quite good against other control decks like Warrior. But this time the control shaman here is probably going to be very strong for Paris. Like, that deck is, although it's countered by the OTK Paladin, it's pretty much strong against Vienna's entire lineup. Actually, like when I'm looking at the lineups right now, I think it makes very little sense for Paris to actually ban the Quest Shaman. It seems like most of their decks are pretty decent against it, while they're not as decent against the OTK Paladin. So I'm really interested to know the thought process behind this ban.
Yeah, that would be an interesting ban. We'll see if it plays out here as we continue to play out this match between Paris and Vienna. You can see one of the choices that we have to make here between the Oasis Surger, Wrath, and Keeper of the Grove. And I feel like for most of the time when you're playing a Quest Druid, you almost always auto-pick Oasis Surger. You just want to have that as a part of your toolkit. Why not have a third copy, right? It's just so powerful once you get that quest finished. But I think another great option here might be the Keeper of the Grove, just knowing that they're playing against a Priest.
I think they're gonna have to go with Oasis Surger just because it impacts more things on the board. Of course, they opted not to do that because indeed the silence answers one big buff minion, and they do have that awkward quest that's not yet completed for Oasis Surger value. So I think the Keeper of the Grove is a decent pick. They probably want to look in at least to pick up the light board the next turn if no bigger threat comes. Also, we can see that Paris top deck is in a really good position. Priest is traditionally really good against Druid. And although they should be a tad less good against this version of Druid that has more removal, this time it drew both King Ferris and Scenarios being dead cards in their hands. They didn't draw their swipes or extra bees for removal, so they're kind of irrelevant in this game. And yeah, even if they do clear this board, the Priest just has Bonsandi, and that's a really strong card that recently picked up and pretty much brought Tempo Priest to new heights. I think it was popularized by Hunter Race, who also brought it to GM. You just add 2 more 1-drops. Excuse me, but I did forget their names. The 1/2s that buff minions with 2 HP. And when you have such a decent pool of 1-drops, the Bonsandi really becomes an excellent play.
Oh, are you talking about the beaming sidekicks?
Exactly. I'm really bad with names.
Yeah, no, it's okay, because that's a card that I haven't been super familiar with either, but you're right about its potency within this game and within this matchup specifically. I mean, just buffing your minions out of any range of what the Druid spells can do is so powerful, because think about the removal tools that are at the disposal of a Druid, right? You've got Starfall, and once you have that quest finished, then you're able to use that to completely wipe a board. That board would be gone if you
they have
were
to go
able
for
to
it
have
now,
both
though.
choices. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good choice. There's no reason to wait. You have to clear a board full of wounded minions with Northshire Cleric. You just can't let it live. And here's that beaming, the beaming dude with the backpacks. That's how I remember him.
He's not a sidekick, he's a hero.
In this deck, he's a hero. His battle cry actually works so well with the game plan of Tempo Priest. And just being a 1-drop, an additional 1-drop in the deck, it just upgrades Bonsandi. This Priest, if it doesn't draw its Northshire Cleric, it doesn't get a draw engine going. And that Bonsandi on 7 just completely goes around it. So if you play Priest and your game plan doesn't work, you don't manage to draw and you don't manage to kill your opponent early, Bonsandi just resets the game pretty much, giving you more fuel, giving you more tempo, and of course they can be paired up with the Priest Legendary. Man, I'm bad with names today. But they can play these 1-drops with that Legendary and get the HP upgraded.
There really are so many different cards though that you have to worry about in this meta, and it's so unique to what we were just in, which was just Hunter. And so being able to have this flexibility with these lineups, especially as we are playing Last Hero Standing,
Probably
I
gonna
love
see
that we
Raph
have
here.
to. Yeah.
Just cutting you off.
No, that's good because you're right. We should be focusing on the game. But
No,
yeah.
you're welcome to keep talking. I'm just trying to Sneak in these little commentaries as you go.
It is good. It is necessary, and I do miss these things sometimes. But yeah, there really is a lot to focus on when you have such a diverse meta. But it excites me, and what also excites me is seeing Boismondi hit the floor on turn 7 on curve, because Paris is looking really strong in this matchup right now.
Pretty much drawing 3 or 4 1-drops from the deck, making the rest of the draws of the game quite better. Oh, it's just 2. Wow, they had a lot of 1-drops already.
Yeah, they played a ton of them off the front. Like
So
we
that's
saw
Nourish
both.
off the top. It's gonna give them 4 mana this turn, 5 if they want to innervate. They probably play it. They don't have anything else to do really. So
Mhm.
they're gonna play that Nourish, probably Wrath the 4-2 unless they draw something something really amazing like a board clear. Being the second Starfall. Second Starfall does clear the board. They opt for scenarios, for innervate scenarios. That's something I wouldn't expect. I would just go for the Nourish and hope to get the second Starfall here. But that's probably safer. It buys them more time, but it throws away a very strong minion. And probably is going to keep that one Sunday alive for next turn as well, so that's not really solving the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the choices we've seen Vienna make have been because of how quickly Paris has built up momentum in this game. And Vienna has to make a lot of choices that don't necessarily feel great. Like that Starfall wasn't super optimal, and the Cenarius as well is kind of within that theme too, of being a suboptimal time to play the minion, but definitely a necessary time to play the minion. This is absolutely going to buy some time here for Vienna to get back on their feet. And while I would have gone with Nourish, you don't put anything between yourself and, you know, what was that? 11, 12 damage on the board that could hit your face.
Yeah. Now they pretty much have to play Nourish unless they want to high roll Ferocious Howl, I guess. That doesn't feel great. That's probably the Nourish.
Yeah.
You can pair that up with Wrath and Ferocious Howl and you get a little bit extra armor, but probably just go for double Wrath here. Along with an Ubisoft Defender, which was just top deck. That's a great top deck for them, great pickup.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I do believe that the double Wrath would be a strong play here. Because I feel like you could just you can value clear with your Cenarius, maybe the Light Warden.
Yep, that's the best
then,
one.
Yeah, and then you can definitely use your other Wrath to get rid of the injured Blade Master.
Yeah, I think they'll come around and figure that's probably the best play they can do. The other minions don't have more HP to be buffed sufficiently to actually kill them, so they're just going to go ahead and kill the minions that can actually grow in size. That's exactly what they're doing. They're even playing another Innervate, and wow, yeah, they're even playing their second taunt from that Fluke.
Wow.
That's actually a really good play by them. That's the recognition of, okay, we need this board to survive. We need this board to make it because we don't have strong removal right now, and we need this board to actually do the job for us next turn.
I think it can. I mean, we're seeing quite a bit of buffing happening on Paris' side of the field, but a lot of it has to do with getting card draw, and also trying to get one of those Tauntaun minions down low enough to be able to hit it out of the water here. But there isn't a super clean way, I think, to do to really heal up or buff up. Oh, I guess you can double a minion's health. That works also.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a Nephirus Ritualist next turn.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh.
at the end of this turn. What am I talking about? That's not good enough though.
Yeah, it can't clear out the
The 4/4 can't clear out the 4/1. They didn't draw a spell. They were really looking for a spell here. They didn't get it, so they had to improvise.
I think he's gonna hit anyway. Yeah, go ahead and get the damage off when you can, because here's a great card the Hidden Oasis is a wonderful top deck, but I kind of wonder whether you go for the clear here with the swipe and go ahead and set up that Hidden Oasis 6/6 taunt, or if you go ahead and use your 10 drop, because that would also be a really good way to use your mana here.
That's a very interesting turn. I think what we'll be seeing here is probably a swipe on the Acolyte just to prevent more card draw, or they could swipe the 3/7. I don't really like it though, because if they do that, they're gonna have to trade.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like a swipe on the on either the 2/3 or the 1/3. Probably the 1/3 to diminish draw.
Time goes short.
Oh wow, they're just gonna go ahead and try to clear out the.
No,
There,
that's all right.
That's excellent. Yeah. This is a really great play. You can go ahead and value.
And then they
trade
probably
these
heal scenarios. They don't care about
Yeah.
healing their face.
Now, why heal your face when this 6/6 taunt is going to keep your face safe from basically everything as of right now? Like Paris is struggling
Oh,
to
they
yeah.
just concede.
I was about to say Paris is struggling with some of their resource management. They went a little bit too fast, and by the time the Druid kind of found their footing, it was way too late.
Yep, I think the priest just had a really explosive start, had really beefy minions like it's supposed to do. It just didn't have the spells, didn't have the inner fire, didn't have the divine spirit to capitalize on the board quickly enough. And then the druid that has extra board clears, has extra removal, just drew into those. And once it found its opening, they went for the tempo play, had a board that could contest the priest, and pretty much got the board away from them. And when priest doesn't have the board, they can't really come back because they're a really board centric deck. They don't have removal, they don't have some magic solution. And of course, the druid is gonna carry on. Paris is queuing their shaman into it rather than the warrior. I think that's an excellent choice, just because in comparison to the warrior, that when it misses a brawl, when it misses some sort of a board clear at the opportune moment, like a warpath that actually clears the druid's board, then the warrior probably loses in that position, because druid can create a lot of beefy boards, and warrior is a very slow deck that allows them to do so. The shaman, on the other hand, has a little bit more clear potential, has a little bit more tools to respond. The shaman is a way more how to call that? I guess the warrior is more minion centric control deck, while the shaman is more removal centric control deck. So that's pretty much the better choice in this matchup, I would say. Especially when the druid doesn't go long here for Vienna. I'm reminding everybody, including myself, that they do not have Elise, they do not have Nomi. So it's pretty much one copy of King Theoris and one copy of Scenarios. Of course, they can take their time and use their flute to copy one of those. But that's probably not going to cut it against the shaman unless they draw into those really well.
I wanted to point out what happened in the beginning turn for Vienna. So you have a couple of options when you're running the quest druid to either play the quest and pass when you're on the coin, or play the quest and also play the coin so you can start ramping up those quest markers. And I really appreciate them going for the more aggressive line of play, which is to play the quest and play the coin, because now they're 3 steps in with only 1 turn left to really get their quest going, and that's when the quest druid becomes super powerful. Especially in this matchup, I just think you need to get that quest off and running, and it was intelligent for Vienna to recognize that, and also recognize they have the cards in their hand to be able to pull that off.
Yep, they're gonna have 10/10 in stats spread across 2 minions in Oasis Surger on curve, and then they're gonna follow up with some draw and ramp with that Nourish. The downside is that there's actually a 3/6 4-draw prime stats that is probably the best 4-drop in the game right now, the Thunderhead. That's actually going to be a little bit problematic for Vienna if they don't damage that soon.
Hmm.
The Oasis Searchers will have to double trade into it, especially because there's a 0-2 taunt here. And they could, if I were Paris, consider just healing the Thunderhead if it got damaged this turn by something like bees.
Hmm.
I would just play Warmaster Lottie on Poisonous for that
I think so,
reason.
too. I think that gives you a good line of play, but here's the other option that I was thinking about is what really has the opportunity to kill the maiden that's on board. So may as well tap, trade your face and the maiden into the O2 taunt, and then you have the ability to use like maybe your bees on board or get War Druid Lottie. Yeah, This also works.
That's a top deck.
That is a top deck for sure.
Well, they already had one copy, right? But the point is, it's just
you get to play that first. Play
get
those
to put
mind
that on
games.
board after your initial one gets cleared.
Yeah.
Say that. And now the War Druid Lottie can trade into the Thunderhead, and you get two 5/5s. Of course, one of them is going to be 5/4 because I expect it to be traded into the 1/1 Cyric Totem, unless Vienna's will decide to go greedy here and keep the Lottie in stealth mode, which I don't think is correct in this matchup. Just because you're not expecting any minion or any real minion to come down before turn 8-9, where you're going to see that Walking Fountain, Shadowwalk, Feoris, Elysiana, these kind of cards.
Well, I think that this is where the other line of play that I had comes in handy is use your face to ping off the O2 taunt and also use your maiden. And then expect that the Thunderhead on the other side of the board is going to trade in, because now you have to waste like one of your minions in there. I would have just used an Oasis Surger here, but I guess like...
Imagine if you had to trade an Oasis Surger.
5/5 and a 5/4, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like better stats. That board says, okay, if you have Hagatha's Scheme, play it now, or you're gonna get 10 damage. If you did it the other way, if you didn't play War Druid Lottie as Poisonous on turn 3, then maybe, right? Maybe the Shaman, maybe Paris could just play a Lightning Bolt or a Zap to get rid of one of the Oasis Surgers, and then it's just a 5/5 that doesn't do much.
Yeah, that's
By the way, they decided not to clear this turn. They decided not to take the bait. That's very interesting. I suppose they're just trying to bait Vienna to develop the board further so they can capitalize on that with Earthquake. That doesn't really work well for them. They did bait out the Power of the Wild, which is a tool to squeeze out of Vienna here, but they still can clear this board. I think we have a scheme here that clears. We have the Earthquake that clears. They're probably going to go for the Earthquake just because it's more mana efficient. Yeah, they did go for that. That's fair enough. And now the next check is probably going to be another set of Oasis Surgers, maybe just a taunt. Vienna gets their pick here, but if those threats are going to get checked by Paris top decks, then Vienna doesn't have the oomph. They don't have the final play in Nomi or release to actually beat down on Paris. So Paris is just trying to be a little bit greedy on their removals, maybe bait out 2 cards on the board every turn before they clear them, so they can make sure they have those checks every turn. So I think they're playing correctly. I'm just not sure they're gonna have the gas to actually respond to all of these threats presented by Vienna. Of course, they don't have Feroris yet.
Yeah.
So that's comforting.
Yeah, it is. Like, I think that they have a couple of turns, but Hagatha's Scheme is at least going to be able to check some of this pressure. But as a reminder, I think in this in this matchup, we still haven't gotten a chance to see any of the discovery cards yet, so there could be another set of Oasis Surgers that gets a chance to be in play. So I think it's a good call to make that Paris might run out of some shaman gas here fairly quickly,
Yeah,
but they
the
just
problem,
don't have minions.
Yeah, the problem for Paris is that they drew some of their removal, they drew some of their checks, they drew Hex, they drew Hagatha Scheme, and they drew Earthquake. They would much rather see further copies of those, Ziliax, things of that sort, instead of King Feoris and Elysiana, two cards that are practically irrelevant in this matchup. They do not care about those two cards. So that's. Did they manage? Did they have time to clear it off before the
I think-
timer?
I
Okay,
think so. I think we're just seeing the animations play out here. So yeah, they did
Oh.
get a chance to clear out one, but
That's a
oh
stop.
no, yeah, I feel like Vienna might need to rename themselves. Like let's switch them here. It should be Vienna Top Decks and Paris Legendaries. Because
That's a good change, to be honest.
yeah, I mean Vienna's
They're not
getting
going to play
all
that though, right?
I don't
They're
think
gonna
that-
pace it.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a super aggressive play here with the Quest Druid, and I just don't think this is the right time for it. I would wait to bait out Hagatha's scheme before you decide to play that.
I think they're gonna push out the scenarios and maybe push out a board clear instead of the scenarios here, possibly with bees, just to get that Ferraris a little bit better, so it consistently gets 5 drops and 6 drops rather than 0 drops and 3 drops. And also they wanna make sure they squeeze out the answers from Paris top decks before playing that Ferraris. And of course, maybe they even want to wait for Floop so they can do double Forest. That's why the Hidden Oasis is so valuable. Those translate into 6 drops with Ferraris. They do decide to play one of them, but do mind that they have played their Swipe and their Inner Rage just to make Ferraris a little bit better and more consistent.
Yeah. And I think that the Pounce was a really good option. I was going to say, if you wanted to get really greedy, you could smack your Oasis Surger into the Thunderhead, swipe the face, and then go ahead and heal up your Oasis Surger. But I like this line of play a little bit better. It just keeps your
Look at
portrait
Paris
safe.
here. They understand how valuable their Hagatha scheme is.
Yeah.
They are willing to take 11 damage to the face minimum next turn and not clear. Wow, that's a really good series of top decks.
Oh, this is going to be really, really gross. In a
Yeah,
couple of
and now
turns.
they're gonna squeeze the Hagatha scheme. That's another drop they don't want to see. Another draw.
Yeah.
They're just not drawing the answers. Hagatha scheme here is gonna clear, buy them another turn, but then they're gonna face 2 King Feoris who are gonna summon really big juicy boards because they got rid of the cheap spells last turn really smartly from Vienna here. Both teams know what they're supposed to do, and that's a really good thing to see. Like both Paris and Vienna are playing well here, pacing their removals, pacing their threats as much as they possibly can.
I was laughing at the producer just, just very, very coyly hovering over the King Ferris as it does see play here. Innervate, though, off the top is going to draw that 1/1 Wisp on the board, but this looks like a delicious board, and there aren't too many answers that Paris can really use to deal with that, except maybe their top deck of Ziliax here,
I must pause.
or a spell, perhaps.
It's gonna have to be a spell. These are not the spells. That's probably a conceit.
Oh man. Don't give up quite yet, but this is going to be a really tough one. Ziliax doesn't have anything to magnetize to, and it really only buys you 6 extra health in this case. You don't have a silence that's run in the Druid deck, so you don't have to worry about that. But I still think there's enough damage on board.
Yeah, there is enough damage. That's
Yeah.
just game over.
11.
Unless they make a massive mistake and cast bees on Ziliax.
There it is. GG. That is 20 damage on board right there. and that Starfall will mitigate that last 3 bit of health in order to get the 2nd win in a row for Vienna. And now, Falalar, your prediction was that we would have a little bit of a matchup between the Control Warrior and this Quest Druid. So how do you think that this matchup is going to fare for Paris, since they are on their last deck of that Control Warrior?
Yeah, I definitely think Paris are favored with Control Warrior. I thought they were favored with Control Shaman as well. But the Druid is just proving me wrong, I guess. It might prove me wrong again if it draws as well as it did this turn, and Warrior doesn't have the checks. Then they're gonna have a very good time here. But Warrior is not Shaman. It develops minions better to do that chip damage that helps them remove the boards without clears. And they're probably gonna mulligan both Warpaths here, keep the draw in the form of Town Crier and the Brawl, because it's so valuable against Druid's juicy boards. On the other hand, I think Vienna is just going to keep their entire hand. That's a terrific hand against Warrior.
Yeah, it's a really, really fast start here. I wonder if you do keep the Nourish in this situation, because you are looking for other things, but the Worthy Expedition helps you get on that curve and get you closer to being able to use that Nourish. But of course, as I say that, going for a little bit more of the late game play, it looks like. Expecting this is going to be a bit of a slower start here for Paris, but I think they're going to be unpleasantly surprised looking at what Paris has in store for Vienna.
That's very interesting for Paris. They did not keep the Brawl, I think. That might be a slight mishap.
Yeah, they didn't keep most of the clears that I was expecting them to, but they do have the Restless Mummy in hand, which ends up being a great and powerful clear in itself. In this version of their deck as well, I do believe they're running Boom, so all of these mechs are going to be super amped up as we get to the later parts of this game. I just expect this one to be a long one. Vienna doesn't really have as much gas as they did in the first 2 games of this set.
Yeah, I think the problem for Vienna here is basically that difference between Warrior and Shaman. If Shaman doesn't draw its checks, doesn't draw its board clears, it loses to Druid, and we saw it last game. But in this scenario, Warrior doesn't necessarily need all of its checks right away, because it does have so much more board presence, so much more pressure and trading potential, that it can just ride on top of its mechs and minions and eventually Dr. Boom without the dire need for all of its clears.
Yeah.
So definitely going to be a long game here. I think Warriors are going to go better, even with Druid's pretty damn well good curve this game.
Well, what do you think about the matchups then? Let's say Paris is able to take this match with the Control Warrior. Then Vienna has the OTK Paladin and the Mech Hunter left, which I would be excited to see either of those decks in this scenario, but what do you think Vienna would rely upon to beat this Control Warrior?
I think Vienna is probably going to go for the Mech Hunter. Mech Hunter has traditionally been a good matchup against Warriors, although it's become closer to 50-50 since Warriors became more minion-centric. Nonetheless, I think it's just like a whatever. Like, they probably want to win quicker. It's probably a deck that can beat Warrior earlier and is pretty much, we lose, we just swap. They probably prefer to just do it quickly. But I think the Paladin also has a good shot here. Ever since exactly what I said before, Warrior became a more minion-centric deck than before. It makes their armor generation worse. So that plays straight into OTK Paladin domain here, because they're not going to be able to get outside of that 50 damage benchmark.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. The OTK Paladin might be lethal for this Control Warrior. But as of right now, it does look like this Control Warrior has a pretty good grip on the situation. But we are starting to get towards turns where those Oasis Surgers are going to be able to mitigate a lot of the armor potential of those Eternium Rovers and some of those other minions. moves that are going to be seen very soon.
I think they're just gonna hero power.
This one, I think so. Or not? Oh,
That's
wow,
o-
they're gonna
that's okay.
innovate to get the... Yeah. That's not bad at all, actually. It gives you an opportunity to swipe if you get the swipe.
Yeah,
And
it,
yeah.
it also makes Oasis Surger better.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and just get rid of some of those big threats to the Oasis Surger. But, yeah.
I think you sacrifice the extra value on Starfall to start checking the warrior for board clears early.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you play it into the board we've seen last turn with an Oasis Surger, it just gets picked up by the minions on the board, and the warrior doesn't need to spend any cards to deal with the Oasis Surgers.
Yeah.
But now, if you play Oasis Surger, the warrior has to come up with an answer. It has to spend cards to respond to the board status. So I think it was a really good understanding of Vienna. They just realized, okay, the warrior has the board, and we want to start pressuring ASAP before warrior gets brawls, before the warrior gets something else to put on the board, and make it even harder for us to take it back. So that's a good play by Vienna. Probably going to play Oasis Surger. It's quite a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think the Oasis Surger is the best option here. I would go ahead and start putting out those big minions and clear out that board. I mean, you're gonna get punished a little bit by the warpath that's in hand, but at the same time, I don't think you're super worried about that. If you are Vienna, you have a second pair of Oasis Surgers. You also have Nourish, which is going to do a lot for your hand. That's actually not a bad option either now that I'm looking at the Nourish. Not terrible, but I think Oasis Surger also stellar play.
Now, I think you're waiting for Nourish once you don't have a tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now you have tempo. Probably Paris is not going to develop a board. Then you can either choose to Nourish, or you can just choose to play the other Oasis Surger and create some sort of a check for the warrior.
Yeah.
Basically, stats on board is good in Hearthstone. And if you can put stats on the board in one turn, you're probably going to choose to do that.
That's very true. There are so many resources in this warrior's hand, though. That's 9
But there's
cards.
no brawl. There's no easy clear. Although they can do weapons project plus shield slam to get rid of this board.
Yeah, I like that play. I mean, the weapons project does give something to your opponent, but ooh, they're not even gonna use that. It's just let's shield slam one and wait and see what else comes on the field. I actually really like that from Paris. They opted to save the warpath, and that might pay off here depending on what Vienna decides to do next.
It's gonna get punished though. If they play Hidden Oasis on the minion,
That
that
true.
punishes that play. Because then they don't have a good way to clear. They have one copy of Super Collider, but I don't think you play around it as Vienna. You understand that you have to create that pressure. You have to create that pressure before the warrior draws its answers, because if the warrior draws its answers, you lose. So I think Vienna realized that. They know they have 2 Nourishes in hand, so they're not worried about fuel.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go ahead and create the biggest, nastiest board they can and just hope the warrior doesn't have checks. And lo and behold, they don't have checks. And they paid a grave price for not clearing that 5-2 last turn while they could.
I'm gonna agree with you. If you're Paris, though, would you really want to try to play around that Oasis if you're in this situation? I don't think so. And now you do have 2 Morden, but it isn't buffed. Like I always feel like in this situation you want to wait for Armageddillo, but this is kind of with Paris's back against the wall, the only answer they have to deal with this massive board Vienna has developed. And it's about to get worse. Look at that Cenarius in hand.
Yep. Scenarios is another minion that's gonna be very powerful next turn. I think they're not gonna play the swipe here. It doesn't do enough. They're just gonna go ahead and trade. And then they're gonna have a 4 HP 7/7 and a 3 HP 6/6, which do get picked up by Warpath next turn.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a good play around that. I think they're just gonna allow their board to be picked up by Warpath and just keep that swipe. They still have scenarios, which is good. They are going for the swipe though. That means they are going to keep their 7/7, which does play around Warpath. That's a good choice as well. I probably wouldn't have done it just because I have scenarios in hand. Because you want to bait out that Warpath, because scenarios really suffers from that with the double 4/4s.
That's true. Yeah, but there's other things that Cenarius can do, like buffing up the rest of your board, that, like, it could get punished again. Let's say Paris decides to take another pass on clearing this Oasis Surger. Then Cenarius comes down and could bring it out of striking distance for at least a turn to buy some time. And so this is a little scary here, I feel like, for the Warrior. You have to get rid of it now. Oh, there is a Brawl, though. We do see a Brawl in hand. So maybe it's not so bad.
I think it's a really tricky position for Paris here. Like, obviously Vienna couldn't foresee that. They decided to play around Warpath, and it really paid off this turn. But yeah, that's like a really bad Warpath, and that probably signals Vienna to play Scenarios next turn. They haven't seen Brawl before. Okay, now that's getting a little bit ridiculous.
Talk about another top deck, but these legendaries here for Vienna really are coming in clutch. I can't believe that we're actually seeing a possibility of Quest Druid run a whole set of last year's standing. Like, when I think about Quest Druid and how it's played, I just think about how many weaknesses it tends to have against other control decks. And you pointed it out too, Fellolar, that one of the matchups that we saw before with the Quest Druid versus the Control Shaman probably was favored in that, like, or could have been favored in that scenario if they had had better draws and had a little bit better tempo with some of their board development. But you could clearly see how Quest Druid can get out of hand mighty quickly. Like,
yep.
How are they going to be able to clear out this 9/6?
That's just a Brawl here. I think.
Yeah.
I think Vienna.
Another option.
Yeah, they don't have any other option. They're going for a draw. Maybe they'll find something they did not. And now they're gonna face one minion. Obviously, they want to face a 4/4 rather than something bigger. And they are facing a 4/4, so that's a really good result for them. I think Vienna should have played the Oasis Surgers last turn rather than the Scenarios, because now that they have this gas in hand, they might as well have tried to bait out
The Warpath.
Yeah, no, try to bait out a Brawl, because they've already baited one Warpath.
Oh, that's true.
And maybe make a board that's not very good against Warpath to get Brawled this time, and then you can start pushing. That's an interesting choice. Instead of, I think it's the best choice.
Yeah, I mean, it buffs up a minion out of Warpath range, but you still have to worry about the Brawl.
Yeah, but you have baited both. So now there's just one copy of each. So what Vienna wants to do is just keep playing minions on the board every turn to bait out those removals, not allow Paris to play Dr. Boom, not allow them to play Armageddillo and things like that. And so far it's been working.
Wow,
Although
that top
top
deck
deck is just insane.
Yeah, the
That's
Omega
the
Devastator
biggest
coming off
tool.
the top. That is the best tool they could have ever asked for in this scenario of making sure that they could clear out that 6/8 minion with some ease. They really would like to have Dr. Boom, though. They really would. Tomb Warden, though, off of that Omega assembly there. Whew, this is getting kind of spicy.
The balls on Paris. Look at that.
Yeah, they have them. They have the cojones.
Indeed, going for Dr. Boom, and they're gonna get at least, right? At least 15 damage here.
Sometimes you gotta take a risk though for the biscuit.
No, I think it's a good play. It's a good spot. How is Vienna gonna lethal them? They don't have Zephyrus.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that's a good call. They understand how much they can heal, how much they can bounce back, and they're just going for Dr. Boom because they're probably not going to get another opportunity.
I mean, hey, I would go ahead and play it now. See if you can get some value off of the mechs that are gonna have rush for the rest of the game. I think that's a pretty good call, but you do take so much damage. Was the risk worth it?
You're gonna heal back to 7.
Oh.
Even more, they can heal back to 8. Back 8, sorry.
Yeah, they have some removal tools here, but
This would be a good
yikes.
time for a master.
Well, we've got an Omega Devastator.
Yeah, they're gonna Omega Devastator the 6/8, and then they're gonna play the Ziliax on top of it. Or
Yeah.
they could do something even more interesting. They can play the Omega Devastator on the 6/8, then buff it with the Lumi, which I think they got from their spell there. God, I'm so bad with names once again. And then they're gonna be able to clear with the rush, the 3/5, and send the Ziliax into a 3/2, pretty much having Vienna with just a 1/4 and a 3/2 there.
Yeah. Here comes the Omega Devastator. It is gonna take out that 6/8 like you mentioned. Gotta move fast though, Ziliax. Come on.
Yeah, they're going for the obvious play.
Yeah, Omega
Or not, that's not obvious at all.
No, Omega Dilo, really? I guess you're.
The-
I think you're. Yeah, I think they tried to buff the Ziliax and the.
I
Tomb
think that might be
Warden on the
lethal,
Omega
though. That might have been a throw.
Yeah, here comes the Starfall that's gonna remove the Armageddillo.
And a swipe.
You have
and
10 damage on
that's just
board.
lethal for Vienna. That was a big mishap on Paris's end.
Oh no!
I think they played so well throughout the game here, and they just threw at the end. They could have if they played the Ziliax.
Yeah,
They
I
didn't
think.
have Lumi, by the way, so that's on me. But still, they could have cleared the 2 biggest minions and heal for 7. They didn't do that. They had to play the Ziliax, and the game was kind of thrown.
I think that was a different line of play that had they. I guess. I'm looking at it from Paris's perspective of you're already so behind in that matchup that you have to go out balls to the wall, right? What can you really do in that scenario except let's play Dr. Boom, let's take that 16 damage to the face, let's also see if we can high roll here, pray that Vienna does not have that swipe in hand, and if it pays off, then you do have a massive set of Tomb Wardens, and you also have a Ziliax that is going to help you tremendously in that matchup. So I think that the line of thought was there for Paris, but they weren't playing around the swipe that could finish them off. So it was a toss-up whether or not that was going to pay off for them, and sadly it just didn't.
Now, looking at it from a competitor's viewpoint, I think that throw was unnecessary. They had plenty of value in hand. They had mechs with rush, so pretty much every mech you play on the board is another set of removals. They found the opportune moment to play Dr. Boom where they couldn't be lethal, and they could develop probably the best card in the game right now, as long as it's online. They found that opening, and then they just didn't capitalize on it. They had that terrific clearing the 2 biggest minions, healing for 7 with Ziliax, and probably some sort of mishap. Maybe they deliberated for too long and panicked. I think it was definitely a misplay. I don't think it was a calculated risk. You don't go greedy in that scenario. You have everything you need in hand. You just gotta heal, and from that point onwards, you're supposed to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just tough when you're in that situation, and
Yeah, definitely.
especially as we are playing in a team-based environment. As just a reminder for those of you that are watching at home, these are 3v3 matches. You've got teams of 3 players on both sides that are communicating with each other about making decisions that will affect their gameplay and affect the matchup. So it can be unique in an esport where it's mostly about playing it by yourself and taking those wins for yourself, to play in a team environment like that.
Yep. Definitely, the team aspect here is really it can be a massive help and it can be a big hindrance. I think it takes a little bit of time to actually forge that dynamic that's actually ideal rather than the hindrance. So I think once they warm up in the coming weeks, it's probably going to get better. But I've made mistakes because I was playing in a team, and my teammates made mistakes because they were playing in a team. It's something you got to get used to. But once you do, it's a major boost to your performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for watching. This is the first week of 7 for the Swiss rounds of House Rivalries Nations Division. We have a couple sponsors, though, that we need to thank before we kick it off to next week. We couldn't do this without them, so 24-Hour Fitness, bring friends and get your results your way with a free fit plan, studio classes, pools, cardio equipment, 436 locations, a huge network of clubs, all included in your membership. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. But you could
That
try
sounds
them
like
free.
an excellent deal.
I know, right? I love this too. This little bit here that you could also try them free with a 3-day pass when you complete one of the sponsor quests on the Matcherino page. You get to receive a 3-day pass, and that will be a great way to try out whether or not you want to keep going with 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, become a beast in game and outside of it. We also have GameStop. They're offering a new feature. It's an entirely new program that offers coaching in various games from experienced esports players. Hearthstone is not yet developed there, but you have games like Fortnite and other big franchises. Hopefully,
Overwatch.
Hearthstone. Well, Overwatch, obviously. Necra, you're a big Overwatch caster,
I'm
so
big
you should
fan.
know. But yeah, I think Hearthstone is also planned, and hopefully, maybe you'll see me there. But
That'd
yeah,
be
that's a very great program from GameStop. So they're big sponsors, and they're doing great things for the community. And this feature is pretty great.
Yeah, the GameStop features are great, and so are the features that Matcherino offers. We've been able to host the House Rivalries Nations Division tournament page on the Matcherino website, and for a great reason. It's one of the most efficient crowdfunding esports event websites, and I've seen them get used for a lot of big name tournaments. It's a great way to increase the prize pool with some of their partnership programs. It allows you to donate directly to the prize pool for free with sponsor quests. So you saw the sponsor quest, you heard us talk about the 24-hour fitness one. You also have a couple for Matcherino and GameStop on there too. And when you complete those, you get a chance to donate directly to that prize pool. You can also donate money for free on top of donating through those sponsor quests. So a great way to kick things off here for the Nations Division of House Rivalries. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Matcherino, GameStop, and 24-Hour Fitness, for making all of this possible.
Yep, pretty much the holy trinity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get coached in GameStop, and you go and practice your APM at 24-hour fitness, and then you come back and compete in Matcherino with APM Priest and Druid like Zananananan.
Yeah, it all pays off some way. But thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next week for week 2 of the Swiss rounds of House Rivalries Nations Division.
See you later, guys.